But this range, I think if you go for the Model 3 long range rear wheel drive, and you get like 380 or 365 of range, that's perfect, because you don't want to be driving too much, right? And that car's pretty cool. You can honestly just lease that for 2 years, 3 years, and then you should be good to go, and you won't have to worry too much about the car. But overall, this is like a great daily driver for the car itself. So I want to show you guys like the seats. Right now we are on full self-driving, and I'm just very impressed with how it performs. You can be hands-free on full self-driving now. You just have to put your hands here, make sure you're staring at the road. When you stare at the road, it has attention-based monitoring, and that attention-based monitoring tells you, okay, this person's paying attention to the road, we can continue full self-driving. As opposed to previous versions of the car where you always have to nudge the wheel, and you're like, I bet I've been nudging the wheel hella, and it's kind of annoying, especially on long road trips. So here's the car itself. I'm gonna show you guys just from my front view. Okay, so as you can see here, we do have the new updated seats perforated. So as you can see, you do have heating and cooling. When it comes to heating, it's just like this slow, small burst of air for your car, and it makes it colder as you're driving the car. We do have the new badge. This is the performance badge. I think it looks really cool. It makes the car look different from the interior, which is like the biggest update of the car. You have this new wheel over here. This new wheel is Tesla's new wheel, similar to the Model S's and Model S's and X's, is that you no longer have stocks. And because there's no longer stocks, you don't have to like flick everything up and down. You get auto shift forward, auto shift reverse, out of park, and you just use the screen as your main kind of control system. I know most people won't like that. Like, man, I miss having my stocks. I miss being able to shift and reverse on a whim. Now, you're like, okay, I can get used to this. This is pretty chill. This is pretty cool. I enjoy shifting in and out of reverse. This car I'll get used to it, right? Because at first, I honestly did not like it. It was just like too much for me. I was like, man, I hate shifting in and out of reverse. This is kind of annoying. But I've come to really love and enjoy it. You do get a new kind of center console here. Center console is really nice. It's similar like look and feel to the previous one, but it goes forward and it has like this really cool material. I enjoy this a lot more. Cup holder is pretty much the same. And then as you can see, I'll show you guys the back a little later. But the back, you do have that screen now where it's similar to Model S and X, where your passengers can control the back seat music, air, ventilation, everything of that nature on the back seat, which is really cool about the car. And one of my favorite things about the car is you do have accent lights. So we can go in here, we'll go into lights, and as you can see, there's new accent lights. You can just turn them on. As you turn them on, you can change the color of the accent lights. So here you change the color like this, and all the colors will change for the accent lights, which is pretty freaking cool. I like keeping it blue or red, or if you want it kind of white, you get white color, which is nice too. For me, I'm gonna keep it with the red because I like it. It gives me that Star Wars feel and vibe to the car, which is what I kind of enjoy with the car, right? So overall, do I like the Model 3 performance compared to the Model S? Yes, 100%. It's just the only thing is the size. I don't like the size of the car, right? But overall, like the fit, finish, feel of the car, the suspension feels really nice. And honestly, I think if you get a Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive, you'll be pretty happy with it, right? Because you get the $7,500 rebate. The car feels awesome, like where you don't have to worry about just like the hardware performance, like, because I've had previous Model 3s and Model Ys, and they're great at the time, but then if you drive this car a ton, you can definitely feel the improvement in the car itself, which is pretty awesome. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind about these cars. I've honestly like been a person who always switches their car, and I wish I more so just leased the car, because there's always new versions of the car coming out, and that's kind of like, for me, I don't care much about owning the car. Like, maybe just have one car you own for forever, and then you always just keep leasing brand new cars. if that's who you are. But I really like this. Another thing about this car is that you do have new door opening and closing, so you just press this button, open and close the door. These are the interiors, brand new. It's all kind of white here on the side. As you can tell, if you get the black seats, you will have a more black interior, which is kind of, it's interesting, it's cool, but I actually like this a little bit better. The car itself, very fun, very fast car. Your pedals are the same. I've noticed that they kept the same kind of pedals with the car, so you still have the same performance pedals with the car. And overall, it's a little. They kept a lot of things similar with like the car itself. But I'm gonna go outside now and show you guys outside and exterior of the car, so you guys can get a better feel of all the updates they did to the Model S, or sorry, the Model 3 Performance. And guys, keep in mind, I came from the Model 3 Performance 2021 with the Uber turbine wheels. I love the interior, I love the exterior, I thought it looked so cool, but the only thing about that was the suspension was extremely bumpy. This suspension, night and day difference, a lot smoother. They changed it a lot. Also, I want to keep you guys to know that the cabin is so quiet, guys. Like previous Model 3s is super loud inside the car. Now extremely quiet within the cabin. I'm super impressed with it, with the cabin itself. So the cabin noise not as existent anymore, and it just feels so much quieter in here. So pretty great kind of car, and I appreciate the whole vibe of it. So it's pretty exciting. So overall, city streets, the car is performing really well. I've noticed it performs better on city streets compared to freeway because of how I guess less crazy it is on the city streets. But like you stay in the lanes a little bit more. You're not trying to make as much erratic lane changes, because when you're definitely on the freeway, you're always making a ton of lane changes, which is kind of like a little tricky, especially when you're driving a ton, right? I noticed the car, it's very great suspension, and it does like switch lanes a ton on the freeway, and I don't enjoy that because it gets pretty scary, to be quite frank with you, right? You're always switching lanes, like and then you don't know if you're gonna switch and hit a car, and that's what's very, very scary about the car. But suspension in the whole street driving is very smooth, right? It's super nice. Like you don't have crazy bumps on the road, so it's definitely on smoother roads like you drive on, it doesn't feel as bumpy, and you feel very like you're in a luxury car and luxury sedan. You feel honestly similar to the same suspension you have on the Model S and X, which is a good thing, right? Because those are supposed to be air suspension, so they're supposed to be the most comfortable suspension. The Model 3 and Y are supposed to share the same suspension, as well as similar body to the car. So when you go on the Model Y that's about to come out, the Model Y Juniper, which we're gonna get on the channel for sure, it's supposed to have the same suspension, right? I have a Model Y Performance, and the Model Y Performance is extremely bumpy, right? It's a very, very bumpy car, and it's just super annoying because you're always like, it shakes a ton, and you get annoyed with how it's performing. But for me, I'm very impressed with this car, right? It doesn't have as many bumps. It doesn't have as many crazy like shakes with the car. So that's a very good thing about the Model 3 Highland and the Model 3 Performance, right? Usually in the performance vehicle, you're gonna get a very bumpy suspension because it's supposed to feel like a sports car, so you're supposed to feel the road more. But for this car, you can actually switch the suspension. It's really cool. It allows you to switch from sport to standard, or standard to sport, right? So if you want to feel the roads, if you want to feel like lots of bumps and just feel like the car is going as quick as you can, heavy handling, then go for sport.